Welcome to Nerdiverse Presents March 2014. I'm Marley Nelson.
And I'm Dan Levy. A lot happened this month, a lot of craziness, a lot of awesome action, so let's get right into it.
The latest gossip in the Marvel Cinematic Universe has potential Black Widow and Captain Marvel solo movies happening after Avengers Age of Ultron. This is a great move for Marvel Studios. And as far as I'm concerned, there's only one person up for the part of Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel. And that's Katie Sackhoff.
So guys, with all the Fantastic Four casting up in the air, there's still Doctor Doom to figure out. We got 4 contenders as rumored. We got Sam Riley from Control, Eddie Redmayne from Les Mis, Toby Kebbell from Wrath of the Titans, and then lastly Donald Gleason from Dredd. All great choices, still up in the air. I wonder who has the better agent.
Sebastian Stan also inked a 9-picture deal with Marvel Studios. This means we're going to get more Bucky, more Cap, and perhaps a new Avengers movies. All of these could be happening in phases 3, 4, or 5. Marvel has some big things lined up. This is going to be good.
Also in casting news, Marvel announced 5 new shows about the Defenders, and Terry Crews wants to be Luke Cage.
Sweet Christmas!
Who's going to argue with that? Let's make it happen. Universe, don't let me down.
Avengers Age of Ultron is going to be Falconless. There will be no Anthony Mackie involved in this feature, which begs the question, when will we see him team with the Avengers? Needs to happen.
So apparently in the new Amazing Spider-Man 2 movie, you only see 4 minutes of Rhino. Now that's problematic for 2 reasons. One is because Paul Giamatti is a fantastic actor, and I'd love to see more of him. And 2 is because Alex Kurtzman, Bob Orci, Jeff Pinkner, the writers, are teaming up with Drew Goddard,
Buffy Angel Cabin in the Woods fame,
the very same, to do a Sinister Six movie. So the question remains, which villain is going to get their own standalone movie? Who's going to connect with audiences? Who's going to be the sinisterest of 6?
The Avengers Age of Ultron looks to introduce Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, 2 known mutants in the Marvel Universe. But with the rights to the word mutants under 20th Century Fox, how can Marvel replace that? Are we going to see some Inhuman action?
In Batman and Superman news, aside from pushing the movie back another 100 years, there's talks of a Justice League tie-in. Obviously, we'll have Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, but there's been talks of The Rock as Cyborg, Matt Damon in there somewhere, maybe Martian Manhunter. I don't know, but if we can do a Justice League movie, let's make it happen, DC.
Rumors have recently hit that X-Men Apocalypse is going to be set in the 1980s and is promising mass destruction. Mass destruction. Can I just get a moment alone, please? I just need a moment. Brian Singer. X-Men Apocalypse set in the 80s with mass destruction? One word for you. No. Reboot, and let's just move on and forget all of this ever happened.
So there were a couple movies in the Nerdiverse this month. March 7th, we had 300 Rise of an Empire. It made $45 million opening weekend, and at this point made enough to warrant yet another sequel. I just want to thank Hollywood. Thank you for not calling this 302 or 600, because the math would have gotten really confusing with all these inevitable sequels.
300 Rise of an Empire was based loosely off of Xerxes by Frank Miller, an unnecessary sequel which is spawning another unnecessary sequel. Some movies just need to stay dead.
Also in the movie universe this month, we had March 21st came out Muppets Most Wanted, the highly anticipated sequel to the Jason Segel reboot of the Muppet universe. This sequel comes with us without Jason Segel, but to make up for it, we have Tina Fey, Ricky Gervais, and Ty Burrell. So still a must-watch. Definitely check it out.
Muppets Most Wanted also still has Brett McKenzie doing the score, yet again, and we all remember his classic Am I a Man or Am I a Muppet song. This movie has all the makings for something great. This is Nerdiverse approved. Check this out.
Lastly, in the straight-to-DVD universe, we have Avengers Confidential, Black Widow, and Punisher. This is one of those great animated features that really bridges the gap between the movies and really flushes out the universe. Really get to see sides of the characters that we don't normally see in the live-action movies, so definitely worth a watch.
This is going to be a lot of fun and very interesting. We're going to get great character interaction between the Punisher, Black Widow, Hulk, and Iron Man, and we're also getting our first look at Leviathan, the evil organization that rivals with S.H.I.E.L.D. This month in the Nerdiverse, we had 2 episodes of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. March 2nd, we had Of Rats and Men, and March 14th, we had Wormquake. If you're not watching this new version of the Ninja Turtles cartoon, you are very much missing out. It takes the best elements of the 80s cartoon as well as the best elements of the very dark comic book and gives us a great interpretation that's great for the family and adults to enjoy. Season 2, you need to be watching this.
Yeah, guys, I can't agree more. This really captures the essence of the original cartoon and really harkens back to childhood, those fond memories of Michelangelo eating pizza and Raphael being just a little rude, if not crude. Also in the animated TV Nerdiverse, we had Hulk and the Agents of Smash on Disney XD. We had an episode called Strangers in a Strange Land. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, it's always great watching Hulk in animated form. Being such an over-the-top, cartoonish kind of character, you get to really see his strength and really watch him do what he does best. Smash.
This cartoon has the Hulk, Scar, son of the Hulk, his ex-wife, Red She-Hulk, and his cousin, She-Hulk. You know that's going to be an interesting dynamic. As well as Seth Green and Eliza Dushku and Clancy Brown voicing. Let's give this one some support. Nerdiverse approves.
Speaking of Disney XD, we had 4 episodes of Avengers Assemble this month. March 9th brought us Mojo's World. March 16th brought us The Ambassador. March 23rd we had All Father's Day. And March 30th we had By the Numbers. Now, these Avengers cartoons are always great to watch. Earth's Mightiest Heroes was one of the good ones I enjoyed, but Avengers Assemble really carries on the tradition of just watching these characters grow in a universe where they can really play.
Yeah, the cartoon in itself is a great premise. We're taking the Avengers from the cinematic universe and restarting them with a new cartoon. Although it is a la Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, it's still a fun interpretation. At the end of the day, though, we all miss Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
I do.
But this cartoon is still good. Definitely worth a check out. This month in the Nerdiverse, we had 3 episodes of Arrow. March 5th, we had The Promise. March 19th, we had Suicide Squad. And March 26th, we had Birds of Prey. This show has been delivering on all cylinders. Only complaint that I have is give me Nightwing and stop teasing me with Ted Kord. Show's on point. Deathstroke has been great. Black Canary's been great. Marvel needs to take a page out of this one. This is a great show.
Absolutely. Their use of secondary characters and ancillary characters, it really flushes out the world and really gives you a sense of where these people are, what they're doing, and who they're fighting against. It really makes you feel for the characters, so good job, DC.
It'd probably be a great drinking game as well, finding all those Easter eggs.
I like eggs.
Right? I like drinking.
So guys, it's hard to talk about TV in the Nerdiverse without mentioning Walking Dead. They actually gave us 5 episodes this month. March 2nd we had Still. March 9th we had Alive. March 16th we had The Grove. March 23rd we had US. And March 30th we had A. All very cleverly titled, but again, same sort of content. Characters wandering around, looking for people, lost. Who knows what's happening. Robert Kirkman, love you, but the comic is just so much better.
I'm going to agree with you, Dan. I find The Walking Dead show to be slow, just terribly paced. The characters are not very well developed, and they've deviated so far from the characters' origins and stories, they're hardly recognizable. After watching this show, I often ask myself, am I one of the Walking Dead? Because the show kills my soul.
So in show premiere Nerdiverse news, very excited to tell you guys we have Jim Henson's Creature Shop Challenge, March 25th on Sci-Fi. But hear me out. It's Jim Henson, Creature Shop Challenge. It's kind of like Project Runway for nerds. We got 10 aspiring puppeteers. They're going to come in, play with different materials, make the best puppets they can, and winner gets $100,000 in a contract with Jim Henson's Creature Shop. So, seems like it's going to be pretty awesome. I'd definitely check it out.
This show sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. Anytime you get to work with Jim Henson's Creature Shop is a plus. Plus, it's also on Swi-Fly?
I know.
It's the weirdest thing. This show is a definite must. If you love Muppets, if you love puppets, if you love Legend, Dark Crystal, or Labyrinth, this is where you need to be. This month we saw an episode of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. from March 11th, which was titled Yes Men, which featured Lorelai, Amor the Enchantress's younger sister and love interest of Thor, and we got a look at Lady Sif back in the Marvel Universe. The show is starting to pick up traction. It's getting where it needs to be. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. by the end of the first season, it's going to be something spectacular.
Still not there yet, though. Marvel, you gotta catch up to DC when it comes to TV. You gotta beat in movies, but still gotta work on TV.
Just in TV, nothing to worry about. In lieu of an episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Marvel premiered Assembling a Universe, which gave us an intricate look at the seeds they've placed throughout their Marvel Cinematic Universe movies and how they tie and connect to each other and what we can expect from the future. And we got 2 glimpses at the upcoming Captain America the Winter Soldier and August Guardians of the Galaxy, which I, myself, am extremely excited for. Rocket Raccoon.
And guys, that was March 18th, so if you missed it, definitely make sure you check it out. Really explains the phases, really shows how you plant seeds, and you watch it grow. Good job, Marvel. So guys, it's really hard to talk about the Nerdiverse without mentioning, of course, the 576 million comics that come out every month. We pawned through all of them. We looked through, we tried, and we filtered out the best that we have to tell you about. So here are the best that Marvel has to offer for the month of March. Up next, we have Magneto #1, written by Cullen Bunn, art by Gabriel Walta.
With the popularity of Magneto coming out of X-Men First Class and with the upcoming X-Men Days of Future Past, Marvel is looking to capitalize on that. So now we're going to get Magneto #1, which is going to follow the tale of Magneto after he's been kicked out of the X-Men, working for S.H.I.E.L.D. Who knows?
Magneto is one of the greatest comic villains of all time. It's always great to see a villain get his just desserts and really get to the spotlight, really understand the character. Magneto, very complex, Holocaust survivor, Holocaust provider. You know, it's interesting. He's in between, but, great anti-hero. We also have Guardians of the Galaxy #12, Brian Michael Bendis and Sarah Pichelli.
It's been amazing so far. Brian Michael Bendis has given a lot more layers to the characters of Star-Lord, Gamora, and Rocket. Now we're about to hit the conclusion of the trial of Jean Grey, and then look for Dan Abnett to come in and take over and prep for the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Expect a lot of tie-ins, and this book is something you should really be reading.
Yeah, guys, it's like he said, if you're excited for the movie, if you want to know more about these characters, this is how you're going to find out. Brian Michael Bendis will tell you, Sarah Pichelli will show you. And lastly, from the Marvel Universe, we have Superior Spider-Man #29 and #30, written by Dan Slott and art by Giuseppe Camuncoli. This is the Spider-Man story arc where Dr. Otto Octavius actually entered the body of Peter Parker and is now a Doc Ock Spider-Man. The psychological thriller edge on this, the idea of Spider-Man's worst enemy inhabiting his own body, really talks about internal demons and really brings it to light. Really exciting stuff. Definitely check it out.
This is coming to the tail end of the Spidey-Ock tale. Dan Slott has done something vastly different, much maligned by a lot of the hardcore nerds. But this is exactly what Peter Parker Spider-Man needed, a breath of fresh air. And his time is coming to an end, as we're getting ready to see Peter Parker, the one true Spider-Man, make his return in Amazing Spider-Man #1 next month. This is the end, guys.
DC also has 85 quadrillion, gazillion, gabillion comics coming out this month. Couple to recap, some here are the great ones. Green Hour #29, written by Jeff Lemire, art by Andrea Sorrentino.
It was very funny, as this is the Outsider War. The New 52 era did not succeed very well where they wanted, so what they do is they took elements of the Arrow TV show and put it in Green Arrow, and now it's wildly successful. This is part 3 of the Outsider War, The Outsiders. Yeah, this is what you should be reading right now. Jeff Lemire is taking Green Arrow and put him to new heights.
We also have Batman #29, it's written by Scott Snyder, art by Greg Capullo. This is another Year Zero storyline. It's starting to finish up. Some characters from Batman's past, maybe from his future, are coming around. I love these stories. It's always good to see, a true origin. But I've seen Year 1, I've seen Year 0. I feel like they've done so many comics of these years that they have the time-wise, like years of 1 year of Batman's life. Let's move on.
I'm going to agree with you, Dan. I feel like the Batman 0 year was great in theory, but at the end of the day, we've all know Batman's origin story. Yes, Scott Snyder, you've done and you've put different layers on it. You've included Edward Nygma. You've relaunched a lot of villains and made them better, but at the same time, we're getting a year-long origin story. But it's almost over, and I can't wait to see what he's got planned next for Batman, because his Batman run has been one of the best in a long time.
We also have Birds of Prey #29, written by Christie Marks and art by Robson Rocha.
What's very interesting about this Birds of Prey is we're getting a little bit of the tie-in from Arrow into the Birds of Prey as well. In this issue, we have Black Canary racing to fight Ra's al Ghul to save someone she cares about's life. Again, tying it all in together, Birds of Prey has been actually a very strong book, and I highly recommend it as well.
So Dark Horse also has a million gajillion comics, so let's talk about it. They have Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Season 10, Issue 1, written by Christos Gage and art by Rebecca Isaacs.
You know what's very actually really fascinating about this is the creative team that was on Angel and Faith. So what they did was they switched the creative team for Angel and Faith and Buffy, and we have Season 10. This is a quality book that everyone needs to be picking up. Season 8 was a little slow, Season 9 found its pace, and now Season 10 is about to be a rock star. If you love Buffy the TV show, this is where you need to be.
Just gonna say, guys, if you can't get it on TV anymore, this is the source for it. Read the comic if you love Buffy. Also coming out from the Whedon world is Serenity, Leaves on the Wind, number 3. It's written by Zach Whedon and art by George Gentil.
Yes, George Gentil and Zach Whedon are doing this. It's taking place right after the film, and it's going to give us further explanation into the characters, although we are missing one character, Walsh. It's a shame.
We also have The Strain, The Fall, number 9, written by David Lapham, art by Mike Huddleston.
This series is being adapted into a TV show. It's going to premiere on FX this year, and David Lapham is going to take this story arc and take it to skyrocketed places. He's an amazing writer. Stray Bullets, his noir, his interaction with characters. This is where you want to be. Check this out before the TV show premieres in July.
Yeah, guys, David Lapham made noir cool again. I want to say neo-noir, but just real fun, edgy, cool, clean stuff. Definitely check it out. Image also has X amount of comics a month, and want to talk about them too. We have Walking Dead. We got double duty. You got Walking Dead number 123 and 124, written by, of course, Robert Kirkman, art by Charlie Adlard. What's great about the Walking Dead comic versus the TV series is in the comic, stuff actually happens.
Lots of stuff has been happening. Rick has taken the battle to Negan, but the lines aren't as clear as we thought they were. Is Negan the bad guy that we've been led to believe? Or is Rick maybe a little bit over his head in this one? We'll see, but I'll tell you one thing. The bodies are piling up.
And guys, last thing in our comic adventure, we have IDW, who also releases a million comics a year, a month, a day, who knows, but let's talk about what they have for March. Next up we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, number 32, written by Tom Waltz and original writer-creator Kevin Eastman, art by Ross Campbell.
This book has been really good. Kevin Eastman jumped back on. He's taking the Turtles in a very darker direction. This comic is the darker version of the cartoon that you want. If you're not reading this, you need to be, because also coming up this year, Peter Laird is jumping back on with Kevin Eastman. We're getting the original TMNT creators back, and this book is going to be rocking.
Guys, you heard it here. You gotta catch up with it. If you really cared about the original content that spawned 30 years of remakes, reboots, and bastardizations, you gotta catch up now before Laird jumps back in and you're lost forever. Getting back to the real nitty-gritty, ultra-violent, ultra-sexual, really hardcore kick-ass Turtles. Looking forward to it. Next up we have Monsters and Madman number 1, written by Steve Niles, art by Damien Worm.
Funny thing about this, have you ever wondered who should team up with Jack the Ripper?
All the time.
Well, because we had Sherlock Holmes, you had Fred Flintstone, and now you have Frankenstein's monster. Steve Niles is going to give us quite the tale as Frankenstein monster goes out to set to find Jack the Ripper.
Didn't Batman fight Jack the Ripper too?
And won.
So guys, this is my favorite part of the show. This is where I get to yell at you at home for being insensitive and horrible to everyone around you. Our topic today is sexism in comic book movies. Now, when I say that, I'm sure a lot of topics come to mind, a lot of examples, but it's really hard to talk about this without introducing the prime example, the Bechdel test. And to do that, I brought in a woman.
Hello.
Her name is Rose. Women have names. This one's named Rose. Rose, can you please explain to us what the Bechdel test is?
Sure. The Bechdel test was created by Alison Bechdel, an American cartoonist, in her 1985 comic strip, Dykes to Watch Out For. In this comic strip, she had 2 female characters talk about what makes a good film, and that came down to 3 main points. The first point point being it has to include 2 named women. The second point, these 2 named women have to hold a conversation. And the third and final point, these 2 named women who are having a conversation must discuss something other than a man. And that is the Bechdel test.
And almost 50% of all movies fail this. I don't even want to know the real numbers for comic book movies, because I know it's way, way higher than 50%. That means even stereotypically, we couldn't have, oh, Tiffany, want to go shopping? Sure, Susan, that sounds like fun. We didn't even have that. I don't understand, with all the thousands of characters in all these comic book universes, that we can't have a movie where 2 women talk to each other about anything besides men. I mean, Marvel alone, X-Men alone, you have Rogue, Psylocke, Storm, Shadowcat. So many women characters that apparently can't talk to each other. Fix it. Fix it now.
That's a really great point that you bring up. We have the Days of Future Past movie coming out starring Wolverine. But in the comic books, it was about Kitty Pryde and Rachel Summers. Why the change?
Let's treat women like equals for once, okay? Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
We have a special guest today, Miskiewicz, author of Thomas Alsop with Boom Studios. He's here to talk about comics, his life, and what he thinks about the world today. Chris, thanks for joining us.
Right on.
I know you've done other comics, but just tell us about Thomas Alsop.
In June, Boom Studios is putting out my first monthly comic called Thomas Alsop, which is fun. Actually, it's awesome.
Congratulations, yeah.
I'm working on it with my partner, Palais Schmidt. The comic thing's been fun. Yeah, I've been trying to get published in that medium forever. You can't do it unless you're named prior to trying to get in, and then it's about teaming up then with somebody who
Palais,
will,
right.
in this situation, Palais, yeah, doing this.
And yes, we saw the cover, it looks fantastic, and I saw the variant cover as well.
Dean Haspiel did our variant for issue number 1.
That's incredible.
Kind of cool, yeah. Back to Dean. Dean was the first guy that published me back on Activate. He pushed everywhere through, and we've done a few things since. We both curated this tripcity.net site, which is this multimedia amalgam of, that's kind of a crazy little place. There's comics, there's prose.
So tell us about Thomas Alsop.
Yes. Tom!
Tom,
He's
yeah.
such a douchebag. I love writing him. He really is a complete... Wow, he's just a jerk.
Why is he a jerk? Tell us about him. What does he do?
Thomas Alsop is the current Hand of the Island, which is a curse that comes... Alright, let's do this. In 1699, the Massapequen Indians cursed Richard Alsop for a few reasons, but mostly they were there to protect this portion of Earth from any Ooga Booga hoo-ha magic that would come this way.
Of course.
With the advent of the Europeans coming, that was impossible for native peoples to do. Mazzara sees what he has to do, and he curses Richard, who in a lot of ways it's like the least worst decision. Like it's like nothing good could come from this, but this is the least bad one to do, and so
right. Lesser of evils.
Sort of, yeah. So he curses him, and Richard lives an extremely long life of 100 years after that, and he's already 45. And the curse goes through the bloodlines as his family grows. Once a hand dies, a new hand in the Alsop family, just one of them wakes up that day, and they are the Hand of the Island now. And it goes through the eras. We have, we're hoping, Boom greenlit the first 8 issues. I've already written the next 2 arcs, don't tell. And we're hoping it goes forward because we get into 5 Points in Manhattan, which was fun. It's really thick with New York history.
You believe in magic? The island of Manhattan, home to over 10 million souls. Well, living souls, that is. My name is Thomas Alsop, host of Thomas Alsop, supernatural detective, illusionist, media sensation, loved by millions, the charming supernatural protector of Manhattan. It's a great gig, except that it's all real. See, a few years ago, my best friend Marcus filmed one of my encounters and put it on the net. 3 months later, we had ourselves the #1 illusionist show in the country. The truth is, my family has been charged with taking care of Manhattan's not-so-friendly side for the last 300 years. In a city this big, and this old, and a lot of things creep up. It's a tough job. Someone's got to do it. And that someone is me, Thomas Alsop, the hand of the island.
So, you believe in magic? Because you should.
So guys, that was March 2014. Thanks for joining us. Great episode. I want to thank Chris Miskiewicz for joining us. Congratulations on Thomas Alsop, June 2014. Definitely check it out. Boom Studios.
Please do that.
On behalf of myself, Dan Levy,
Marley Nelson.
hope to catch you again soon. See you in April, guys.
Keep calm and nerd harder. Is this like?
Yeah,
I'm not.
Check, please.